Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Now Loading Esports. We are back with some Overwatch action tonight. Will be a chill stream with your host Kanor. Today we're going to be watching some collegiate Overwatch. Tonight we have Kutztown's Team 1 against their Scrim partner, of which a name I'm not sure yet. But we'll be seeing some collegiate level Overwatch. About a master's level, probably 3.5k. Excited to see what Kutztown is bringing to the table. I have since graduated and have not been following very closely with the Kutztown meta. I think we're going to see some PK Factor DPS tonight. I'm excited to see what he can pull off with his partner Big Rick. Um, we have some Overwatch 2 buzz recently on Twitter and on the subreddit. The Overwatch League teams who are going to be starting in March don't have access to Overwatch 2 and won't have access until they step on stage for their first game, which is an interesting point. Um, so the way they're practicing is they're using a community-made workshop that is as close to the game as they can get. I'm interested to see how they adapt to the actual game when they step on stage. There's going to be a new UI. It's on a similar engine, I understand. The game will be, will feel the same. It's not going to look the same. There's going to be some slight changes to characters that we couldn't do in a workshop environment. For example, I think Zarya's bubble sharing right now I think is impossible on a workshop mode, so she can't use two of her bubbles on herself and or two of her bubbles on teammates, which I think is a great change that they're moving into Overwatch 2. Another one might be Briggs passive changing. I think that's also impossible to do right now. So, interested to see how the meta shifts. It's going to be super loose those first couple of weeks. Even though we might see a lot of the same stuff from teams in scrims, they might be developing the same stuff. The day one, we're going to see a lot of different things, especially from NA to Asia. Philly, the PA team that Kutztown resides near, is in Asia Overwatch League again this year. Excited to see them every year. I am a lot of roster changes. They're keeping their main heavy hitter Carpe on the roster, probably for a pretty good check. I think his contract ends this year. I think this was the contract that they gave him on the end of season 1 that he took. I believe at the end of this year it will expire and he will be a free agent. Hasn't been given the opportunity really to dominate like he has been in the past, but it's always a new season every season. So we're also in a completely different game, right? One less tank. We'll be seeing traditional 6v6 Overwatch tonight, but sometime in the near future, we will definitely be seeing some 5v5. We are getting into it here on Busan on our very first map of the night, and we'll be in it in just a second. Not sure of the team name of Kutztown's opponents here tonight. I hope they can give me something that I can hold on to for the evening. But we've switched here to Mecha Base. Won't see a lot of dive here, although it would be an interesting adaptation. We'll see a lot of Reinhardt. We'll see a lot of Zarya. I know D.Va has been pretty good in the meta recently, so we may be seeing some Rein D.Va. Looks like we might be seeing a Mei here on the blue team. Mei McCree. Now, if you were to swap the Baptiste for Lucio here, you would have a an old-fashioned mecha-based comp. There was a while where the collegiate meta, including when I played for Kutztown, was Reinhardt, Zarya, Mei, essentially. And you'd just Lucio speed boost around and try to wall off the Reinhardt and isolate him. And so we might be seeing that from these teams here this evening. This is a great map for it, right? The high ground is easily wallable off. Easy to take advantage of an out of position player, or even someone who's in position that you can deny healing just for a moment. If your team has good enough focus fire, we may see the Mei stick on both teams. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Again, this is now loading esports, covering some Kutztown collegiate Overwatch scrims as our first team fight breaks out here. Both teams trying to wall off the Reinhardts here. Blue team, Baptiste gets a little bit out of position here. Bonafide gets a little bit out of position there, and Kutztown very quick to respond. Theoretically, should have won that fight just on losing their important main healer very quickly there, but they did lose their Reinhardt, and now Kutztown, if they don't get more picks here, will be on the back foot for a second, and there goes the picks. The PK factor will swoop down to point and begin capturing it for their team, and Kutztown probably needs to take a forward position here. This hallway incredibly hard to get through with a Mei on the other side, and if they're smart, right, they do have that Lucio speed boost they could use to rotate the other direction if they feel like it's going to be too difficult. They wall up the main heals. Kutztown might not be able to get a lot done here, as it's only a BAP on the other side. A whiff shatter there from Sponty. Bit of a late response there from the Lucio, but it does make them boosted, so they can take some space here. Char on Kutztown finding one alone, using his ult, but being out of position, and Zaku using that wall, saving the blue team here. It's just in the edge of blue team here. That looks like they might have a slight advantage with one player and one healer still up. Kutztown with one healer, Kutztown with both healers, excuse me, might still have an advantage here with the sustain on point. Well, at least give them a couple more percent. Kutztown all frozen on point here. Shady with the remake kill on a bone wheel. You don't want to get caught out like that, because not only do you lose a healer, but you know that D.Va is back in mech. Blue team taking the point here after about 56, almost 57% accrued on the point from Kutztown. Kutztown regrouping here. It's going to need a speed boost through here. Let's hope a good countdown there will get them through. Looks like they use their wall to get out. Another decent strategy, amplifying the D.Va bomb damage. Is PK factor through that Char, through that Litlow amplification matrix. Sponty gets caught out here and decides to play aggressively and use the shatter, and it looks like it worked out for Kutztown there. An excellent use of the ultimate, although it can be incredibly risky. Litlow with that air shot heal on the bone wheel, I saw that. Those of you re-watching that on stream, if you caught that, Litlow's been the main healer for the Kutztown Overwatch team for quite some time now. Him, PK, and the PK Factor and Big Rick are staples of the Overwatch team for a while. We've got some new blood in here, which is great. It's good to see that. Blue team pushing up here with a couple of ults, and a couple more on the way very quickly. If they can rotate well here, they may have the upper hand. PK Factor, a lot of pressure on that Reinhardt, forcing him to take the brunt of that damage for that team fight. And Kutztown slowly edging out this win. They want to stagger that D.Va if they can, and they decide not to. May have been a mistake not to do that. As you can see on the time here, the blue team doesn't have a lot of time here to get back, and that stagger on that D.Va may have been crucial, as the Wrecking Ball Pyro Dragon gets that touch. Sky almost gets killed there on the way down. Both D.Vas protecting and assaulting that McCree, who ulted. A lot of ults on the point here, just trying to zone the enemies off so they can buy themselves some more time. Sponty with his second whiff shatter of the evening. Looks like it will still be enough though for Kutztown as their cleanup crew swoops in, picks it up. PK Factor did a lot. It looks like Divas, even in a non-dive meta, appears to be the character that is still just doing everything, right? Protect the front line, protect the back line, play aggressive, use your bomb, remech on someone, defense matrix this, defense matrix that. Yeah, that self-destruct just getting used in a disruptive way, it seems like so far. Kutztown not using it with combos with like shatter or maybe the EMP, but we're seeing it used as just a disruptive tool to maybe put some players out of position early. Kutztown a good showing so far. Their cleanup is a lot better. I think we haven't seen great ultimate usage from Kutztown. I honestly think we may have seen better ultimate usage from the blue team despite them not getting kills with it, but we'll see what happens in the second round. Just waiting for this to get started here on map 2 of Busan. I am your host Kanor. This is now loading Esports. Looks like the second team is ready again. I'm still not sure. I'm waiting on my producers here to give me a team name I can use for the blue team. But for now, blue team will do. Blue team and Kutztown both going for a dive in the same strategy here, pushing up. Although the blue team's Reaper taking a back seat here may mean more damage for Kutztown in the early game here. Kutztown retaining the high ground here, and an aggressive jump from Sponty will mean he has to back up a little bit. Zaku looking for that crucial hack onto either PK Factor or Sponty. But if Bone Wheel does get caught out with a hack too, that will also work. Blue team holding the point here. Looks like they will have the capture. Kutztown not caring too much about it. Instead opting to wait for a good engagement time here. Big Rig poking from the side here, and the blue team responding very well. I will say that they are very good at looking at the same person when they're shooting. They're turning together pretty well right now. This is the first team fight, and now here comes the absolute madness. Big Rig does get hacked here, but looks like his heals are keeping him up. Sponty with his ultimate getting very low and will get taken out. The combo from Kutztown here looks like it will be enough unless Retro can get something going here, and he won't. Wow, that was an incredible amount of ultimate from both teams very quickly. It was 3 or 4 ultimates from the blue team and 5 ultimates there from Kutztown. That might be the fastest Lucio ultimate I have seen on both sides. Great job on both of them. If your team is sitting there, right, you don't necessarily always need speed, and so with all of those heals, those Lucios got a lot of ultimate charge very quickly, and it looks like blue team pushing Kutztown back quite a bit here, forcing Sponty to use his jump to get out there. Retro getting a pick on Bone Wheel early will mean that Kutztown has to start playing together or on point right now. I think both might be the best option. Big Rick taking out a support there probably won't mean much except for they have to walk back from spawn. The blue team doing a great job cleaning up here, but Kutztown does still control the point, getting probably an extra 15% there. And Retro winning the Reaper 1v1, dominating Big Rick in the backline up there, showing why he's the boss here in this team fight. He did take a bit of a passive stance on that first team fight. That was concerning. I was worried maybe he was going to stay there, but it looks like he's not. Kutztown getting their footing, kind of figuring out where to go here. Spy checking now is exactly when you need it, and that's a 5-man EMP and Death Blossom combo. Kutztown deciding to reset. Only 2 ults there used from the side of the blue team will mean that this last fight, or second to last fight, will mean they're going to have a lot of ults to use on the defense. Kutztown with just a little bit less in the ult economy there may struggle to get in if the blue team uses their ultimates first, which is what they want here. They may, actually, now that I'm looking at their ults, they may just use them all offensively to stave off the offensive ultimates that Kutztown has. Kutztown's combo coming in here does get 5. Char gets 5 with it, and it looks like Big Rick will be cleaning up 2 with that spin combo. Kutztown pushing in, saving it at 99 here, but blue team still has a couple of players. Kutztown working on cleaning up these last remaining players on the blue team. Sky doing a great job getting a couple more percent, guaranteeing that 99 for their team. Kutztown, with a couple of blown ultimates, it looks like the blue team may have decided just to go stale on that last fight, which will mean that they have more utility here in this fight. Very smart decision, deciding to just try to dry fight win. Kutztown did have to commit a couple of ultimates there, and in turn they may be behind a little bit behind in this team fight. Fight's moving here to the midfield. High ground is given to the blue team here if they want it. Retro taking advantage of it, putting a lot of pressure on some there. And Shady B getting the other diva. EK Factor trading with the Moira. Which was the better pick? You decide. I suppose it will be the decision of the players currently playing. But Kutztown just edging out that win there at a crucial time here. And Sky with a last second, and I mean last second touch there. Good mechanical prowess, leaving spawn quickly there and getting there. Shady with the slam, a little bit later with that slam, and he could have lost that for his team. Would have been maybe a little smarter just to guarantee that you get on the point. It was very close, but he did get some damage out of it. Here comes Sky one more time to try to touch, and Kutztown is there to block it. This is a great scrim. We're gonna have a great couple of even matches this evening. Great job on these teams for picking a good opponent. We'll see how well these teams adapt to each other over the evening. But I have a feeling if they're adapting at an equal rate, this will be a great learning experience for both teams and a great spectator sport for you. So, coming in on the third map of Busan here. Okay. Just getting ready for map 3 here. Teams deciding what they want to do. So we're on a scrim code, which means the teams have a little bit more time to decide on their game plan here. Kutztown, I'm guessing, will not go with this composition. I don't think you would want a Zenyatta Tracer with the rest of the 4 characters that they have. But we have a really super aggressive kind of utility pick dive composition here from the blue team. This is a great composition, right? You have a 3-man team with the Zenyatta, the Brig, and the Sigma. And that gives your supports a lot of range and a lot of up-close damage with the Brig and a lot of sustain. But this is going to be a very wide-open fight here for these teams. Kutztown getting an early pick there. Bone Wheel on Zaku, finding him behind him. But Retro and Pyro Dragon will flank all the way around to catch the Tracer out. Not a pick I would have expected here early in the fight. Blue team looking for a dive. 3, 2, 1. Looks like they're going in for a slam on the back line. A lot of damage coming in. The Sigma may be too far to help. Looks like he's not. Baptiste on Kutztown. Litlow's going to be using that immortality field now. Will not have it for his tanks later, but I mean, Orisa is invincible if she's got that Fortify up. And so there's not much that you can do, even if she doesn't have that immortality field from Litlow. Pyro Dragon looking to get up to a little mischief here in the back line. Blue team recovering here. Bonafide looking to protect his team from that Tracer. Main goal is that Zenyatta protection. It's going to be hard for Char to get in here and do anything on this Zenyatta with that Brig next door, but looks like they may be separating a little bit. This gives an opportunity here for a flank. Char is unfortunately not here, but Mid-fight, it may be more valuable as that Brig may not have those armor packs. Kutztown looking to maybe get a pull here, a pull combo with a Helix Rocket from Big Rick. Fights breaking out on all sides of the point here, and a flank from Retro on Bone Wheel. Kind of getting redemption there from that pick on Zaku earlier. Big Rick taking out Pyro Dragon and Bonafide will mean that Kutztown's up one player, and just as I said it, the fight is even here. This is a battle of the Tracers on the point. Baptiste ultimate getting used, and Shady with an amazing use of his kinetic grasp, eating up that pulse bomb from Char, who died just before that pulse bomb would have gone off. Who knew if it would have stuck, but definitely saved some damage, potentially, on the blue team. Blue team looking to get spaced out here. Their team is incredibly spaced. That's how you want to play this composition. You want to come from every angle. And they're giving Kutztown a lot of damage here before they even get in. A great use of those projectiles from the Echo from up top. Big Rick with the visor. Will he get too overzealous and push up? Looks like he won't. Some support utility getting used from both teams. It's about a ceasefire right now on both sides with both those Zenyatta ultimates. A lot of damage coming in now with this Sigma ultimate, Gravitic Flux, but looks like nothing will come of it except for a pick on the front line while they were distracted from Zaku. Two Tracers on the side of the blue team right now. A lot of pulse bombs coming in. Retro with their own. Zaku with about to have their second, I think, with this duplicate. PK Factor will be eating the real Tracer pulse bomb, and that's big because Zaku did lose his transform, and Kutztown taking a slow lead here onto the point. Now keep in mind the blue team had that point the whole time, and if you notice it's a bit weighted in their favor here, but not for long. Kutztown with a lot of ultimates they could use to stop a push here. We have only offensive pushes, only offensive ultimates, so it may be hard for them to defend a long attack here. They're gonna want to use these ultimates before the fight gets too crazy so that they can get a pick early. Char looking for a cheeky pulse bomb in the front line here, deciding not to play flank, like a flank Tracer, as Char gets shut down early there. Maybe thinking, well, with the Brig in the backline, it may not be useful for me to do so. Pyro Dragon with a great slam and a proximity mines there, blocking off Kutztown's tank from the rest of the team. Blue team getting some footing on point here, putting some pressure on Kutztown to rotate, and they will. PK Factor going to protect the point from on top of the drum, and Big Rick alone here may get caught out. Looks like he won't, and Kutztown slowly edges out this last team fight. Insurance there from Bone Wheel on the end of the team fight. And Sky, Zaku, Bonafide falling to the hands of Kutztown. Big Rick popping off a little bit on the end there. I think he got 4 picks that team fight. That was huge for Kutztown. That team fight was only favored in Kutztown by a little bit from their ultimate usage. But it was anybody's game with those comps. Those kind of compositions can go either way because teams can make quick decisions and find players who maybe are out of position quite easily. And when they find them out of position quite easily, they can initiate on them, and they could actually get a pick because of their movement abilities. Right, you've got that Wrecking Ball super mobile, you got that Tracer that's super mobile, you have that Echo that can shoot projectiles down. So a lot of help there on a single target that you have. Sigma also able to kind of long range help out the team with some AoE maybe around a corner. So blue team, I love the composition from them. I think that they could do a little bit better with their focus fire from their backline. It looked like Retro and Zaku and Pyro Dragon are able to kind of converge on a target pretty well, but the help from Shady B and from Bonafide and from Sky is what they really need to finish off those targets. We saw Kutztown pretty early in those team fights having to use their immortality field. And what that means is, you get the Baptiste to use their immortality field, and then you back off and you reset, and that thing's going to be on cooldown for another 20 seconds. So another dive will definitely do it. That's the advantage to playing a map against dive, is you really need to dive their whole team twice if they use Immortality Field correctly. So Kutztown, great job there from Litlow. Great adaptation in their gameplay, playing against such an aggressive spread out comp from the blue team. We will be right back with, it looks like, Hanamura. Although this game mode will be gone in Overwatch 2, I'm fairly certain it will not be missed. Probably one of the more straightforward game modes, and I think that may be one of the reasons why it is so difficult to balance. Having that spawn room so close to the point, and especially having the respawn area so close to the second point, means that a lot of abilities can get used from safety. Players can reset their character to someone else if they don't need it. You know, throw a Baptiste Immortality, run back into the spawn, switch to Ana, sleep dart someone, come back into spawn, switch to Moira. You know, there's a lot of tricks that can be used here in the defensive spawn room. Looks like we're going to be seeing a poke comp here from the blue team. I like it. They're going to have to rotate well here if Kutztown decides to play an aggressive comp. Kutztown, on the other hand, if they do play an aggressive comp or a not shield comp, they're going to have to minimize and absolutely minimize the poke damage they take earlier before a team fight. Sponty, PK Factor, and the supports especially are going to have to keep an eye on where everyone on the enemy team is, and they're going to have to make sure that they are fully healed before a team fight. So this may mean that the team speed boosts in, repositions on that left or right high ground, heals up, and then jumps in. And the way that blue team that can counter that here is by making sure that they rotate well enough that they can always see Kutztown, albeit from a range. Right? We've got that Ashe, we've got that Hanzo that they want to keep at a distance from the enemies, and we've got two tanks that can survive pretty well with two supports that can keep a team up from immense amounts of quick damage. So I would expect, if we don't see a one team fight here from Kutztown, that they may just switch their composition up, as this is a very difficult thing to do. Get through this choke point especially without taking poke damage. Kutztown getting ready to dive in. Looks like they decided to go to the high ground, buy themselves some space. Blue team decides to back up. Smart move. They're going to have to rotate here and keep a distance from Kutztown. Kutztown now has a lot more real estate here to set up for a dive. Char taking a super far flank here, making sure the enemies keep their heads on a swivel. Kutztown has a lot of real estate now. Blue team giving it to them because they really don't have a choice. Jump diving onto the enemy team, exactly what they want to do here, saving their movement abilities. Mazen just pressing shift and staying alive. Honestly, that is how you do it. Great use of the abilities to take out the monkey there. Sponty on Winston did use his jump a little bit overzealously and did get caught out. Great capitalization on that from the blue team. Retro getting that pick damage already close to a Bob. One of the more expensive ultimates in the game, and Retro did enough damage in that pre-team fight and that team fight to get himself an extra player, essentially, for this last section. Kutztown moving up here. There is that 7th player for the blue team. Bob is on the point and actually shooting through the amplification matrix there. It's going to mean a lot of damage onto PK Factor's mech. One pick, though, means that if Kutztown gets out right now, they may have a chance to win a team fight on being up one player. Bob here in an interesting backline position, kind of being like a Torbjorn turret. Retro put to extremely low health, 5 health there. getting healed up. Great shots there from Sky, and a great use of the coach gun to keep Sponty off of the high ground. Blue team retains this point. Sticking together, all of these players are. The Sigma does have to walk all the way back, so if Kutztown remembers they killed him, they can split him off from the team, and looks like they're doing that. Great job from Kutztown. Now they're a player up. Blue team on the bit of a back foot here, but they do have to still protect the point, and a great placement there from that Diva Bomb forces Bonafide into a bad position and will catch him out. Bit of a late Dragons there, last ditch to keep this first point under their control. Looks like it will not work. Kutztown keeping both of their supports pretty far back here in the choke to keep them out of the line of sight of both the deadly crosshairs of Retro and Zaku. Zaku getting a pick though. Retro behind here, something could happen. Looks like they don't know he's here. Big Rick stopping that right there though. Blue team did have an opportunity for a hero moment from their star DPS players, Retro and Zaku, but looks like it will be shut down by Kutztown. Kutztown without a mech right now on PK Factor. Looks like they'll be getting it pretty soon, but it will slow them down a little bit. Interesting choice to switch to the Hanzo here from the Ash from Big Rick, and also no Lucio here will mean a slow moving backline and front line for Kutztown. They do have the rally. Looks like they may use it early here just to fortify this attack a little bit. They decide to save it and let the tanks use their ultimates instead. Both tanks just getting pretty deleted there. 2 and 3 ultimates from the blue team there will mean a pretty decisive team fight win here. Although their ult economy is pretty shot here. We have players switching characters. And we also have, looks like more of a dive tank composition here from the blue team. Although they may be switching back, I'm not quite sure. They have 0 ultimates here. Kutztown coming up on 3 for this team fight. Maybe the only ultimates that we see here, all on the side of Kutztown. Interesting to see how they approach this team fight. Kutztown pushing up, using a Dragons there. Looks like it was eaten by Shady B again. Shady B with the defense matrix power. Great work on his side. Char looking for something in the back line here. He's gonna get a lot of damage on him from the high ground of the blue team though, so it was a little bit risky to go for that. Is caught out a little bit, but they turned around, and Big Rick here pushing up the high ground will have an opportunity to get 2 more picks with the PK Factor that is pushing up. Although Kutztown does not have these kills fast enough. If you want to capture a point on 2 CP, you have to be up 4 players when you get onto that point, and it looks like they've lost 2. This fight may already be lost even though they're up players. Here comes one ultimate from blue team here. Looks like it won't be working. Kutztown may get a tick here, and they will. Kinetic Grasp for the PK Factor will find 1 and kill 2 in the process. Kutztown slowly edging out what might have been a lost fight if we had some character swaps here from the blue team. Maybe a Wrecking Ball, maybe a Mei. Losing some footing here. The blue team have just a couple players coming back out. Doomfist with no ability cooldowns. Very smart there from Retro. Using 2 abilities and saving 1 to get out is very important on Doomfist. So if they did anything well in that last couple seconds, it was definitely that. Kutztown with less than a minute on that clock, capturing the second point. I suppose they considered leaving that fight, but thought that they may not have time for another one. Blue team did have a couple ultimates coming up there, so it might have been the right decision just to try right then, right there, to capture the point. Excited to see now that the blue team has the knowledge of Kutztown playing dive on the offense, if they'll decide to play something a little more sturdy that can maybe run through this choke point together. Kutztown may have also just been trying a couple things, right? Trying dive here. Scrims are a great opportunity for teams to try new strategies, even though it may not be their best. They may be something that they need to work on. So Kutztown on defense now, blue team on offense now. Kutztown have a, looks like a 2-man team and a 4-man team here. We have the Mercy to both pocket the Ashe or the Echo, up to the discretion of their shot caller.
Spirits live within me.
The 4-man team being the Orisa, Sigma, Ashe, and Baptiste.
Do you believe in
We will have to see how they play this. I'm interested if maybe the Echo will hover above the team or in front. Looks like the blue team may be going for a bit of a meme strat here. They're going to teleport from the choke to the point. It's super, super important for Kutztown to react immediately to this and either decide to hold up a little bit closer or destroy that Symmetra turret as quickly as it gets put down. There's a window of time where it can be destroyed before the teleporter is available for use, and it looks like they're going to use it to get onto that high ground. Reinhardt missing. Looks like a little bit of a messy teleport there for the blue team. That's why we do it in scrims. So no sweat off of their backs, really. Just getting some experience with that kind of strat and how to move. Slowly getting picked apart here. They do not want to get staggered here, and it looks like they're spending a little bit too much time dying. Every second counts here in Overwatch, and every second that Kutztown can keep one extra controllable player alive of that blue team is another second that they have off of the clock. So, second team fight, we are sticking with the Symmetra here. Although their team is a little bit spread out, getting together now. Looks like they may just be going for the point for the backline. They go right for the high ground. I do like that teleport a little bit better. It gives you a little bit more insurance on the position towards the point. And finding Sponty caught out. Interesting that the main tank, unable to survive with all of those abilities he has, does get caught out. May have been kind of pincered off by the blue team. So a bit of a better push there from the blue team than Kutztown. Deciding to keep the Symmetra here. The D.Va will have to swap off and back on to D.Va to get that mech back quickly so that they can have a quicker fight, sacrificing that utility of the ult charge just for that. Sky was a little bit AFK there. I saw that. I hope your team doesn't flame you for that. Oh, and absolute disaster for the blue team. Kutztown takes that teleporter out just in time, and two of them go off the bridge and into the murky depths of Hanamura. Unfortunate, but a free teamfight win for Kutztown. And if you're Kutztown, you take those. You know, you take every free team fight that you can get. So they're probably totally fine with that. Kutztown using a lot of their ultimates early here. 3-4 ultimates getting, two getting used really early there. PK Factor absolutely ripping through the blue team, and a super long stall can be done here on this D.Va as long as they keep her out of mech, which they will. She's gonna get body blocked here at the door. It looks like the dynamite from Big Rick, probably not planned on killing her, but just a habit of his, I'm sure, that I have all the time with Ashe. Philly Fusion, famous for stalling a D.Va for about 30 seconds on this very map last year. One of the worst staggers we've seen in the Overwatch League. Kutztown trying to recreate a little bit of that from their Philly boys. Blue team pushing up here, trying to get maybe a high ground here to take this position away from Kutztown, which they will happily give. Pausing them with that dynamite. Buying your team that little bit of extra time there is Big Rick with that dynamite on the high ground. Blue team looking for their cooldowns so that they can push back up into here, and a ton of damage just gets thrown down onto the blue team, and an excellent response from Bonafide. PK Factor with a 6-man gravitic flux an insane amount of damage that I'm surprised they were able to sustain through. They probably did have Lucio amped there to keep them alive, and blue team might be edging some kind of win out here on this point. They're still alive. They're still together. Kutztown should be able to recover here, assuming Char can get out, and Char does not. Now they're together. Just a McCree Retro is behind here. Now it's a 5v5 for a couple seconds here. They want to take advantage of the down Kutztown member. Retro trying to get through. Zaku gets their ultimate canceled from a kill by Big Rick. Big Rick doing some of the heavy lifting right now. Edging out this team fight win, and another stagger onto this D.Va unless he destroys that turret. Which he will. Very smart move from Kutztown. Kutztown maybe could have gotten an extra second or two out of that stall if they let the D.Va walk all the way off the edge. Maybe something that they would need to work on here. Blue team, I think, is stagnating a little bit too much on this high ground. Deciding too slowly is also a killer in this game. So they're spending too much time getting to where they're trying to get to, and not enough time taking an aggressive fight. Shady getting Rick off of that high ground, but he will be able to just probably get right back on. Retro with a 3-man Deadeye to start this fight off, and that's disaster for Kutztown. That's an avoidable ult that Retro managed to sneak some value out of. I mean a lot. Sponty for a little while, the lone man to protect the point here. And now the cookies are crumbling for Kutztown. Blue team with amazing cleanup there at the end of that team fight. Great job from the blue team, taking their first proverbial team fight, map win on Hanamura. We did see an immediate change in the playstyle as soon as they decided to press W. And honestly, I think the most broken thing in Overwatch is the W key on your keyboard. Because if you don't take advantage of the space that you're given, or if you don't play too aggressive, you will stagnate and you will take poke damage, and you'll lose the fight before it begins. So hats off to the blue team for adapting there on that last team fight, and it did definitely make a humongous difference. So again, this is Kanor, your host for tonight on Now Loading Esports. We're watching some collegiate Overwatch between Kutztown University and their Scrim partner. Some very, very close matches tonight. Some actually great VoD material for these teams. At the end of the day, you scrimmage other teams because you want to learn. And Kutztown doing a great job finding a team that will help them learn. I'm sure a lot of coaching behind the scenes is happening between maps here. So we'll be getting into the next one, which is just a moment. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Now Loading Esports. We're watching some collegiate Overwatch here. Kutztown University hosting their Scrim partner on Watchpoint Gibraltar. My hot take, my favorite map of the video game. Kings Row, of course, is the favorite from a lot of players. I believe 20% of the player base or more, it's their favorite map. Watchpoint Gibraltar is by far my favorite map. This is where I got my start in semi-pro Overwatch. This was my tryout map on a dive meta, and it was crazy. And a great map for Widowmaker, which was that character I tried out on. Great utility from the range that they give you on each point. Second point, by far one of the most complex Widowmaker games that you can play from any point of any other map that we have. Second point, Gibraltar, probably just behind first point Gibraltar in difficulty for Widowmakers. You know, you've got maps like Junkertown, which is also a very difficult map. You've got maps like Mecha Base, which was a Widow map for a couple of months, at least in the Overwatch League. So Kutztown looking probably to take a quick high ground. I love this strategy from them. With the Symmetra, they'll be able to get their team really quickly up onto this high ground. You'll see Char switch off of that Symmetra after they get up there. And you'll see Kutztown just slowly take point here. Blue team not going to let them get it for free, and an amazing sleep dart timing there from Sky. Sponty bonks his sleeping head into the wall there. Treat your monkeys better, you guys. That was horrifying. Sky showing off the Ana prowess early here with some long range nade, a lot of damage onto the front line of Kutztown. Kutztown forced actually off of this bridge. Great defense there from the blue team. Bonafide taking that kind of babysitter position there that he needs to against these two tanks. And Char, the lone person pushing the cart. We're going to have an ultimate coming up soon. PK Factor, the first man in the lobby with an ultimate ready, is Gravitron Surge. Incredible usage of his energy there. So much damage he's pumping out. He's done 2,000 damage already in this game. The only person edging him out is Zaku on the other team. And there's that Grav. They do get one pick, and slowly the tanks are edging forward here. I love this loadout from Kutztown here. The double bubble combo of Zarya Zarya Winston on Gibraltar is a great idea. Give that Winston some protection so he can move up onto those high grounds. We see Sponty playing more aggressively than he normally would, which is exactly what you want to do. That enables your Zarya to deal a lot of damage. The only issue is Zarya's positioning matters so much in this comp. I cannot stress that enough. She does not have a speed boost, and a 4-man anti-grenade, biotic grenade there from Litlow, showing us why maybe he's the best Ana in the lobby this game. Sky we'll have to see some crazy stuff from Sky later if he wants to reclaim that title. PK Factor with 4,000 damage already in this game. To give you a little bit of perspective, the next best amount of damage here is on Sponty, and he has 2,400. He has nearly double the damage of the next player on Kutztown's team, PK Factor, with almost a second Grav in 2 team fights. This guy is unstoppable right now. He is a menace for the healers of the blue team, and I'm glad to see him on this character on this map here. Zaku with an excellent flank here on a big Rick. A lot of damage on him, and he will waste his ultimate there after getting stuck by Zaku. Kutztown trying to get their footing after that humongous loss there that Zaku put on them. Zaku copying a brig. It looks like won't have time to get their ultimate before the switch, but it won't matter. Kutztown getting pushed back. An amazing start to that team fight, and a great short little side angle flank from Zaku there, taking advantage of the top of that spaceship. If you didn't know, this is a similar smaller version of the spawn room on every control map except for like Mecha Base. It's just a smaller version with a different inside. Little trivia fact there for you. Kutztown pushing up top right here. This is a great position. It gets them closer with a good amount of cover, although they don't have a diva to get through, so they're going to have to push through together. The tanks will go first and distract the enemies, and then later the Ana and the Brig will follow. Tanks have taken some space here. Mazen with a nano boost on him. PK Factor having a bit of a Harry Potter wizard battle with him. 2 nano tanks kind of on the bridge, back and forth. Zaku finding Sponty out there. Sponty getting caught out a lot here after he uses his jump. He'll have to start using it more conservatively if he doesn't want to get killed here by the blue team, because they're doing an excellent job of capitalizing on his movement. Stunned, slept. Mazen is not phased here on the high ground. Gets pushed off. Sky keeping his team up from that high ground position. It's dangerous. Big Rick does take advantage of it. You can see the value of the top of that spaceship. Big Rick immediately getting value of standing up there. His arch nemesis Zaku pushes him up and off along with the rest of the blue team, and they will catch him out. His reign of terror up there ended early before he could get that tactical visor again. Big Rick staying even with Zaku for their ultimate charge, but PK Factor unable to find a good grav target here, with the defense matrix of Pyro Dragon maybe scaring him a little bit. PK Factor is a diva player, so he may have some idea of how he wants to use his ultimate, and there it is. Uses it on the monkey. Looks like it won't work, but they draw out a lot of the resources of the enemy team. The enemy team support line there. Kutztown pushing up, getting 2 picks here, and this should be their fight if they continue to move forward. A defense, an offensive nano, just to guarantee the team fight win from Kutztown is a smart idea. We call that a guarantee ultimate, just to guarantee that you win the team fight. Zaku put very, very low there, and he's on 5 HP here. Sponty in the spawn room. He has 1,000 health, but he's not invincible. May boop a character off, and he does, but it is the one character of the 5 that were right there that can get back. Unfortunate. Litlow may be caught out here by the Brig, and he will. Bonafide taking out Litlow after that team fight. Blue team coming back a little bit. Kutztown may have to back up into their spawn early in this next team fight here, but they will get a lot of free space.
Justice ain't gonna dispense itself.
I'm gonna take some high ground here. PK Factor with some great early positioning here. Pyro Dragon is there to assess the situation, decides he doesn't want to be there. PK Factor and Sponty capitalizing on that low mobility character Cassidy there. A grab and a bomb from the players, excuse me, a grab from Kutztown and a bomb from the blue team here. Kutztown slowly getting edged out by the blue team. Big Red caught out again. Will want to die quickly if he wants a better team fight next time. Kutztown struggling a little bit on these first team fights every new point. They're not finding good places to capitalize on a pick that they've already gotten. They're getting a little overzealous, and I don't think they're cashing out their resources as much as they should. The first thing they need to do here is get Zaku off this high ground. He's doing a great job of forcing movement abilities out of the tanks. He's going to force them out, and an amazing body block from Sponty. Zaku gets caught out there. That's not what you want to start a team fight out here on last point Gibraltar. Char looking for a pulse bomb on the backline here, looking to bait out that flashbang. Does bait it out, but no picks so far. I eat my words. Char with a kill on a Sky there, finishing up the tank's work. And Kutztown pushing up here. 1 tank kill on the side of the blue team, and a tactical visor will seal this match out for Kutztown. 30 seconds left, finding their footing there. Pretty good job from both teams. I can't say that the ultimate usage from both of the DPS on the sides of both teams has been great, but the nanos have been important, and the tank ultimates have seen a little bit of value on both sides. I'd like to see a little bit more of a smart usage of ultimates from the DPS players on both sides. We will see what we get when the teams have swapped. Earlier in our broadcast here I mentioned throughout a scrim that teams will adapt. And I'd like to circle back to that because I think that Kutztown is getting out-rotated here by the blue team. I think that the blue team here is adapting a little bit faster than Kutztown is. And this is the time when you'll start to see teams start to grind their gears, because one team will be adapting faster than the other. And what happens there is, you know, a morale dip, maybe, in Kutztown. I mean, they are capturing points, they are getting picks, but I'm starting to see the blue teams just start to edge out Kutztown by just a little bit. I'm going to start referring to the blue team as the away team. Those of you watching, I'm realizing that spectating and seeing blue on the character you're watching and red on the one that I'm calling blue may be a little confusing. So I'll be switching to the away team.
5, 4, 3, 2.
I feel like their team name may be F214. So I'm gonna be using that instead. So belay what I said earlier. Got Kutztown and F214. Retro getting a closer position here on a low ground, maybe dangerous. We'll have to use recall early. Char now in a position to win the fight here, assuming he gets enough damage, and Retro will escape with his life. Kutztown is forfeiting that high ground to the blue team much faster than the blue team let them take it. Big Rick getting a little overzealous, jumping down, may have caught himself out in a bad position here. 1 HP on him, a bad decision, very vaudable though. Team F214 here, taking advantage of these players caught out on the high grounds and trying to push them out. Won't get too close. That was very smart not to take those fights if you don't have to. Kutztown caught out because they thought they could get to point, and they won't. 2 extra kills there for Team F214.
Going free.
F214 taking the high ground here, the top of the ship again is so very important. Kutztown just now deciding to go up, taking a soft dive up there, just letting the enemy team take it for now. Zaku, that was the quickest D.Va duplication I've seen. I'm surprised. I thought he would have at least gotten a little bit more time in the mech. He will have a remech, but it doesn't really mean anything as he will be transformed back. Sponty on an aggressive position. Catching that D.Va out a little bit. D.Va is half health, but Sponty again a little overzealous with his use of that jump. Does not get punished this time. Might have been possible though. I think that is definitely something that Team F214 could take advantage of if they see that he keeps jumping up a little bit too high. So much work for these Anas on both teams here. Sky and Litlo sweating in their gamer chairs right now. So much work with both of these dive tanks and a tracer. You got to be looking in every direction. The Ana on the side of Kutztown probably feeling a little bit more comfortable though, because of the brig that will sit with him. Forcing that res out early. Good job, PK Factor, taking advantage of that player out of position. Pushing through shoving every player that they have. An amazing pulse bomb there from Char. A bit of a firework placing that on the Mercy before she flew. And Kutztown, this battle is not over for them. Team F214 getting 2 picks here, and now the fight is very split up. Kutztown regrouping. Both supports are still alive for them, so they should be able to win the long game here. But that soldier back on high ground, that's a lot of pressure on him. Sponty getting that really important pick onto the D.Va. And F214 will be forced to retreat. I haven't seen a lot of action here from the DPS on both sides. It's pretty much been all tank all day on this second point of Gibraltar. Supports just frantically keeping their supports alive. It's a lot of work. Again, Sky with the sleep darts on Big Rick. Kutztown's, I mean, it didn't mean much. Nothing came of it, but crazy sleep dart to throw there. Looks like they may be waiting for Retro to get into position, and they may have waited too long. A great boop there. Bumping Mazen off of the high ground and wasting his ability. And he even fights so far, trading a Tracer and an Ana. Kutztown looks like they're a little bit more grouped than F214 is, but it may not matter. A lot of small icons in the kill feed right now. We have a pulse bomb from PK Factor. That shield just barely keeping Bone Wheel alive in the back line. Kutztown with the regroup and that brig. It's just a hard defense to crack, right? You've got the soldier who has the soldier 76 who has his biotic field. We have the Ana who has his biotic grenade, and we have you know, the defense Inspire from the brig. It's just too hard of a defense to break for Team F214 right now. They have to rely on these important ultimates to get picks here, like the pulse bomb and the D.Va bomb, but excuse me, the self-destruct. But it's just not working out. They may need to switch characters here if this team fight does not go their way. Forcing Kutztown away. F214. Char with another pulse bomb, a sleep dart from Sky, a parting gift there for Char as they do trade. F214 up one player now. Kutztown forced to take a back footing here. Looks like Kutztown's defense may slowly be falling here. PK Factor needs a clutch bomb. Will not get it, but we'll get a lot of damage from that remake here. We'll see if it matters. A nano on that monkey is bad news for F214. That's a lot of sustained damage from a character you just can't kill. F214 still just clawing and biting at everything that they have. There's 30 more seconds left on the second point of Gibraltar here. Kutztown cleaning up at the end. That was an incredibly messy fight for both teams. Kutztown the one who benefits from it, as we're still on second point. They wasted a lot of their time in a long team fight. They have a couple ultimates coming up on both sides, but this is it, do or die here for F214. This is the first time we've seen them not be able to complete a map. Amazing. Last second stall here. Char, first time getting their pulse bomb eaten there this match. Pyro Dragon guaranteeing that does not happen again this team fight. Tank battle here on the point. Litlow may be caught out here on the side if the tanks see him alone. But a big sleep dart, a humongous sleep dart onto the Echo. Kutztown with a couple of players still here on point, but F214 just edging out a win, just slowly clawing at Kutztown. They have a couple more characters here for some stall, and Sponty will just not die. So much health on that character, and now with the Inspire ultimate here, may mean a lot for Kutztown. They have 5 players back here. This may be slowly turning in the way of Kutztown. It's such a back and forth battle. F214 is so close to finding the second point of Watch Point Gibraltar, but Kutztown is just denying them that. And Sky, the lone character on F214 to try to jump there, that was a very winnable, I think, team fight, but Kutztown took advantage of their cleanup. And Sponty with that nanoed touch on the point was detrimental. He did a great job spacing himself away and putting himself in that bubble. Getting that Brig ultimate kept him alive for just long enough to get those respawns in from Kutztown. So a great showing on first point from F214, but as we went to second point, we saw they weren't taking that high ground on top of that ship, and they also were struggling. Their DPS were struggling to find any value during those fights, almost on both sides there. Kutztown's DPS getting more value on the end, but a great map from both teams. And we will be back in just a moment with the next map. Alright, Scrim's Row it is. F214 versus Kutztown, some collegiate Overwatch. Kutztown University getting their esports facility in early 2020 before the pandemic hit. They've been practicing from their $250,000 facility in the basement of Kutztown's student union building. Very proud of the work that was done for the esports team there, and I'm glad that they're utilizing it. It's good to see them back.
Wake up, sleepyhead.
Team F214 here. I'm impressed so far. They don't have any standout carry players, which is great, which means everyone has, you know, an equal weight on their shoulders here. Some very good decision making on their supports, I'll say. Ability usage early in fights, maybe not so good, but their mid-fight ability usage, really, their tanks are nearly invincible, even in a dive scenario. So Kutztown has to level with them there, especially on a tank-heavy map like King's Row. So let's get into it. Team F214 here on the defense. Kutztown playing a comp we saw earlier tonight on Busan Mecha Base. Close range fight. Both teams with the mirrored comp here, playing this fight close, win quick with the Mei wall. F214 giving a little bit of space here, but a wall may be something for Kutztown, and they will find one. That's an important one to find, as without that shield, without that main tank, the rest of your team will fall. Char absolutely popping off there with the wall, the freeze onto the Zarya, and 2 picks there. Crucial in getting there. Not a lot of ult charge on either side. Litlow, because of the damage that his tanks took, will have that ultimate on deck, and will use it right now. Probably a surprising sound for F214 to hear. Kutztown forced to move back a little bit. Mason kind of showing his main tank dominance here. PK Factor getting staggered a little bit will mean an extra 2 seconds until Kutztown's regroup. Alright, Kutztown taking the corner here. This is a hard place to push against the Mei. They're gonna have to use either a wall to get through or a wall to break the other one. Looks like both teams are using walls, and nothing will come of those walls but a cryostasis here from Zaku right in the back line of Kutztown. A little confusing them a little bit, to be quite honest. Whiffed Shatter on one side means no Whiff Shatter from Kutztown. Although Sky with a great timing on that, and an amazing Mei wall. It wasn't even there! Zaku accidentally killing his whole team, trying to save them from that. And a great little short stagger there from Kutztown. That was unfortunate. Super unlucky placement there from Zaku. Putting PK's Diva Bomb up on a pedestal, if you would. And taking out the whole team. Blue team with one more touch here before this point goes. Kutztown saying, you're not going to get here. We're going to stop you before then. Retro with the high ground here. Does find Litlow, but won't kill him. PK Factor forcing him off, and Mason again the first player to go. You usually see Reinhardt's die first in these team fights. Sponty with an incredibly aggressive, and I'm not sure, safe move charging in. But again, Reinhardt's are usually the first players to die in this type of comp, especially on this kind of map. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him charging in like that. And his name on the right side of the kill feed at the beginning of a team fight. So with almost 5 minutes left on the timer, Kutztown on the 3rd point of King's Row already, showing their dominance on a ground-based map. F214 here, using this Baptiste amplification matrix to kind of stave off Kutztown for a couple seconds and make them regroup. Kutztown with a lot of ults here. We're going to see a shatter here from Sponty. Sponty's looking for it. He's playing aggressively. There it is. It doesn't find anything. A self-destruct, a high noon on the side. Oh my gosh, a double kill there from Bonafide, finding 2 underneath the feet of his mech. That's an instant teamfight win, getting 2 picks with that. If you showed me that clip back in 2016, I would have laughed. Who knew? Even 2020, you showed me that clip, I would have been like, wow, that's insane. They're not going to do that to Diva. They're not going to make her remake do that much damage, but they did. Diva is now a more terrifying character than she already was in pilot form. Kutztown with most of their ultimates. Great trigger finger from them. They didn't use most of their ults. And F214 with an equal amount of ults to match them here on the defense. Pyro Dragon coming up with his own pretty soon as well. A tank battle is ensuing here. Bonafide kind of caught out in front. Does back up very quickly though. Litlow is frozen, and it is a mortality field. Will save himself. Used a little tech there to charge those boots while he was frozen, and immediately jump out of them. But a massive shatter from Mason means something might happen here. So many ultimates are being countered by so many ultimates here. Char way too out of position there. Will find the respawn room. Kutztown slowly getting beaten here. Litlow alone with Sky will win the 1v1 and assert dominance, but will be left on point to die. That was a about a 12 ultimate team fight. I'd like for you VoD watchers to go back and count how many. My guess is probably 10. ultimates that team fight. Kutztown regrouping here, a little bit spread. F214 holding their ground on this last corner of King's Row. They don't want to give them too much space because Kutztown does have 2 long-range characters now. A 6-man shatter from Sponty, but the wall from Zaku! A 12-second cooldown will stop the ultimate on the side of Kutztown, and a double fire strike from Mazen will find enough characters, it looks like, for F214 to close this team fight out. What a crazy interaction there. First the shatter of 6 people, then the wall saves the whole team. Then F214 finds that amplification matrix double kill with that fire strike, an incredibly scary ability with that amplification matrix, because the only thing that's stopping that is a wall or a defense matrix. And PK Factor was not there to block it. Zaku poking the front line here, trying to get a freeze off, and he will, but it won't mean a lot. Zaku again getting his ultimate, was not cancelled this time. Big Rick a last second ultimate to try to save the day, but it looks like Kutztown will be thwarted again. F214 doing a great job on this last point here. Bone Wheel gets caught out while red shelling in the back line. That's another 10 seconds off the clock for Kutztown. They're gonna have one good shot at this last point here, and they're gonna want this fight to be slow. That cart is really far from the end. Kutztown can wait this out. They do have the time. They're gonna back up. They're gonna give them some space. We have 6 ultimates almost from F214 here. Sky is trying to save himself from a shatter or another ultimate here. He's gonna be pressing Q in just a second here to try to keep his team alive. PK Factor with an ultimate will just go off right before the Immortality Field will have gone away. Kutztown with a couple of picks here, one from PK Factor's remake, another from a headshot from Char. Big Rick gets caught out here way up in front here, and it looks like with the respawns here from F214, they may have some footing here to keep them off. A boop from Bone Wheel off the edge on a character who they really need there right now will find space for Kutztown. F214 still up in front, somehow staying alive here, getting swung on his Mazen. He's 1 HP here, will get found. The picks are slowly going towards Kutztown, but Bonafide in the back line finds the main healer. Big Rick with the utility Bastion pick that I taught him years ago. Will it work out for him? So much damage coming down from this area now from this Bastion. They're going to have to deal with him quickly, and they're not. Kutztown's getting value from this, forcing the players outside of here. Mazen for the last second charge does get caught out by Rick. Rick with the utility pick. This was a long time coming for him on this map, seeing as it took a while for them to get through 3rd point. And the surprise Bastion utility from Big Rick will find 3 to close out King's Row for Kutztown. Talk about a utility gadget pick from Kutztown working out. I'm sure he's having a good laugh right now in their Discord. Well, the cat's out of the bag. Kutztown uses Bastion on last second pushes on offense on 3rd point King's Row. So look out for that one. And we are almost ready here. Kutztown has decided, it looks like, on defense here, they're going to be doing a pretty standard Ryan, D.Va here, pretty much the same comp that they had on that first attack here on King's Row. F214 with a crazy weird round on defense. First point losing very quickly, 2nd point holding for a couple team fights. third point, putting their foot down really, and preventing Kutztown from rolling the map. In fact, putting Kutztown such on a back foot that they have to switch to a bastion. That's when you know you've really done something to a person. When they switch over. Teams deciding, probably getting yelled at by their coaches right now. F214 pushing out with a Sombra comp. Sombra does get spy checked very early from PK Factor there. I'm not sure if that was intentional, but it did work out. A 6-man mass. How did that happen? Kutztown has to back up. They use that speed boost. Excellent shot calling there from Kutztown to get out there quick. They have a chance to recontest here, but if F214 is smart, they're going to stay as far in this choke as they comfortably can. So Kutztown has less space. Looks like a 3-2-1 count for Kutztown. They have to go in. Bonewheel alone in the back line against a 2-3 players there. Sponty able to find one, but F214 taking players out now, and with a closer respawn will be able to take this point. Retro popping off there on the Hanzo. Getting that damage in that they need to put pressure on those tanks and keep them on their toes. Taking a lot of space here. Remember, those Hanzo Storm Arrows are ricochet now. You're not safe behind the cart against a Hanzo anymore. Zaku looking to get a hack on someone here, but they don't have a good target. Great job from Kutztown turning around there. Speed boosting Cassidy ultimate there. Does not find anything, but it almost worked. If they get any credit for that. F214 with a couple of ultimates pushing up here, almost on an EMP. Kutztown using that amplification matrix to try to stave off F214, which does work. Kutztown pushing up with only one ultimate in their pocket, trying to take as much space as they can. They find that Zarya out a little bit, but looks like she will be getting healed. And I eat my words. Big Rick does trade for it, but they do get the Zarya. Zarya will be losing all of her energy there. 6 ultimates on the side of F214. I'm surprised if I wouldn't see them use only a couple here to try to win. Kutztown's going to have to respond with a Shatter of their own and perhaps a Diva Bomb, if time will allow. Sponty on the flank here, moving up the left side. He's going to try to find a player here, but Hanzo does hear the shield noise. A bit of a mistake there from Sponty. Oh my goodness, disaster. Mason protects his team. Turns around at the last second. Great job on his part. Sponty does get out though. Only one with the EMP there, but Sponty drop shield just long enough for that shadow to come through and catch 5. Excellent job from Mason there. Kutztown finds a ton of players. They should not have won that fight, but they did. Incredible job. Shatters on both sides. Sponty whiffing his. Mason finding, I think, 5. And somehow, after having 5 players shattered and having them half health, the supports of Kutztown are able to push F214 back to the respawn room. And we'll make it hacked and out of position here if Zaku finds him. Does get spy checked again. PK Factor being a thorn in the boot of Zaku right now, who's trying to just get set up and get ult charge, but he's just unable to do it. It's having to play a frontline version of this Sombra character. Bonafide TV with an amazing projected barrier. That was a great use of that ability, keeping the Reinhardt alive for just another second. Does fall eventually, but resets that freeze timer on the character and immediately takes him out of that danger. PK Factor trying to take Retro off this high ground. He says, "This is my high ground," and Retro says, "This is my high ground." Does regain it in the end, so I guess Retro's really the winner here. F214 again blocking the shatter from Sponty. That may be 4 or 5 block shatters from Mason tonight. Sponty getting way too overzealous with them. No ultimates on the side of Kutztown. This is not looking good for this first team fight. Maybe the only ult they're gonna have is a McCree ult. That's not necessarily what they want here. Zaku just getting those last couple percentages he needs for this EMP. We might see a grab EMP from F214 to close out the map quickly here. They do have 3 minutes left. Litla looking for a place to hide. He's gonna play super far back. Does still actually get hit by that EMP, but Kutztown, despite falling so low on health, McCree, the Cassidy on Big Rick will find 3 with a flashbang and 2 with his ultimate on the side. Those angles are really important for a character like that, a character like Roadhog. Just to get that quick value. Not quite a flank, but not quite staying in the front line. Bonewheel taking a bit of a dance break here on the high ground, maybe trying to look around the corner, or maybe just loosening up his joints here. We'll get found out by the Hanzo. A great early teamfight pick there from Char will mean that the F214 will have to move back. Zaku again just kind of twiddling his thumbs here as his team dies. Might go for a back cap if he sees fit. Looks like he decided not to. Kutztown's pretty good at turning around there. Looks like they did. Zaku just decides to cash in and use that position for a pick on the back line. PK Factor with a well-placed bomb there will force Sky into an awkward position, putting him right in the loving arms of this Reinhardt Sponty. And even though the Diva Bomb didn't get a kill directly, you could say indirectly it did. So PK Factor should be alongside Sponty there in the kill feed for that one. Kutztown nearly touching the spawn door. Sponty trying to trying to desperately get a shatter here, but Zaku will probably see him. He does, he calls it out to his team and they turn around. Disaster for the sneaky shatter of Sponty, but the second time he'll get away with it this match. A grab and likely a shatter from Kutztown will, a self-projected barrier will save the Zarya there from the stuck pulse bomb of Char. Kutztown slowly pushing up here. But good news for F214, they do have more ults here. If they have the time to push up here, Kutztown is ulting them for a while. They had an incredibly quick push here on first and second point. And now, just like Kutztown, they're finding a bit of a brick wall in their opponents. Bonewheel was found out but doesn't know it. Will back up into this dragon, may mean disaster for him, and it will not. 1 HP on that Lucio, getting back with a crucial ultimate on him. It may have been the game. Not killing Bonewheel there. Zaku, the last member here. Looks like we're going to have to see a Tracer swap and a Wrecking Ball swap from F214. They should be able to get there with both of these characters. Bap, actually the first one to touch, miraculously gets up and out of the way, and a great ultimate on the high ground there. Surprisingly still alive. Kutztown finding 2 picks here, 3 picks here. Slowly inching their way towards this fight win, and looks like they're going to get it. Again, a very close match. Both teams overtime on third point of this map. Similar to what we saw in the first 2 maps here today. Kutztown taking great defense on this map. Looks like we're going to be maybe having an interview in a couple minutes here. I'll keep you guys posted as we move to the next map. You are watching Now Loading Esports. Now Loading Esports covering Kutztown University's Overwatch Collegiate Scrims. Here we have Team F214, their Scrim partner. Some very, very close games so far tonight. F214 not too far behind. They did start adapting a little bit quicker than Kutztown did. And they probably heard me say that and made some changes because it's been going pretty well for them since Gibraltar. Alright, Lijiang Tower getting loaded up soon. Another control map. This is probably the game mode that we saw was the most even this evening. Busan was an incredibly close match, 99 on every map here. Love to see another close one here on Lijiang. The Metra out of the spawn here, probably from both teams. I would expect a teleport swap here. You just need every little bit of extra speed you can get on maps like this where it's completely symmetrical, because if you're not first, you're last. There are only 2 teams in Overwatch at a time, so unless you're playing collegiate free-for-all, if you're not first, you're last. Looks like they may be subbing a player out for this map. We have a little bit of a pause here. Looks like we might be seeing another May Reinhardt composition, maybe from both teams. I'd be excited to see maybe a DPS swap from some of the teams. Maybe a Junkrat here, maybe keep the Symmetra. Symmetra's not a horrible idea here. Lijiang, one of the staples of Overwatch control. And this might be the one map we see some real close range action. I'd expect maybe on Shrine and Village we'd see, at least Shrine we'd see a bit of a different composition, but both teams teleporting out of their spawn and speed boosting forward pretty even here. Kutztown gets there just an ounce before the other team. They keep their Symmetras. So kind of them to do that after I asked. So much damage coming through from both teams here. Although Kutztown does not have the Junkrat that F214 does. They do have a Mei. They do not have the Junkrat. Their sustaining damage will be less, but they'll be able to zone a little bit more. They'll be able to control the fight a little bit more than F214 would. Kutztown needs to take a bit of a forward position here, so this Junkrat cannot see too much. F214 pushing in here. Kutztown with the first ultimate of the game here, of the match. Excuse me. Sponty with another suicide Earth Shatter. It seems to be his trademark tonight. Either whiffing or suicide Earth Shattering. We'll find 2 with it and a kill, so it may mean something for Kutztown here, but now with an open floor here is Mazen for an Earth Shatter. They do find 1. The May wall from Char stalling the rest of those kills. Mazen just so far in the backline, and Sponty somehow winning that 1v1 charge at each other duel. F214 getting their footing on the point here. Kutztown almost at 50% after only really 1.5 team fights. That's good news for them. That means there's going to be a lot of ults on board soon, and there will be. There will be 3 here for both teams. F214 taking a bit of a backwards position from this door here. I'd be surprised, well, a bit surprised that they didn't take a closer one against that Mei. Maybe they just want to play a little bit back. Maybe they just want to kite a little bit longer. Junkrat way too close here. Is going to be taking damage, but will stay alive. Nothing doing with the Riptire, but Retro with a pick onto that Diva means that Kutztown will have to back out. F214 pushing Kutztown out that door. Bone Wheel with a bit of a flank here. Trying to just annoy the enemy team. Trying to maybe bait one player out for a boop. Teleporting back. F214 giving a lot of space here. Kutztown forced to push in through Mei here, and that is going to be an absolutely massive gravitic flux there. Sponty finding 2 says, I don't care about that. I'm gonna kill your team with the Earth Shatter. Remember that Reinhardt change that came in about 2 months ago now. Kutztown flipping the point pretty quick there as well. Reinhardt with that 200 damage close range Earth Shatter. A great wall from Char there means he's cut off from half of his heals, but Zaku says that doesn't matter, I'm still going to take you out. Zaku with 2 now, finding that close range damage to be really useful in these fights. Mason unfortunately does not have Earth Shatter, though right now I'm sure he's chomping at the bit. He wish he did. PK Factor alone on the point here, trying to stall. Kutztown trying to stall at least to get 99, but they find 3 picks so early there. Big Rick and Sponty through this amplification matrix again. Kutztown using their amplification matrix much more than F214. Big Rick catching and forcing that Baptiste off the edge. With very little choice here, F214 has to push through. Retro will find 1, and Sky is just again there. Throwback to that first map of Busan, just barely there to get that touch at 99. Kutztown taking a slightly more decisive win on this control point. A little bit better than what they did on Busan. F214 with the different composition they had. Keep in mind they did have a Junkrat and they did not have that Symmetra. Sponty getting, I think, the better of Mazen there. Looks like we may see a bit of a dive composition switch. This is a great map. For that, I wouldn't be surprised also if we saw some aerial DPS. As outside of the point, you know, you can use this big tower here in the middle to cover yourself as you're attacking a backline or a front line. So, a couple of the stats here. Zaku leading his team in damage with 7,400 after the first map. The second most of anyone, only followed by Big Rick, who was on that Symmetra most of that last map. Zaku on that Junkrat, like I said earlier. 2 Sombras here on both sides looking to hack a tank character or an easily diveable person. Both hacks come through. Looks like no picks will come of it. Sponty using that jump again way too aggressively and will get called out for it by F214. Kutztown on the back foot already before the point has flipped. PK Factor caught out. We'll now have to jump off. Never mind, actually, they didn't push him there. Maybe they were afraid because they did not have their Winston with them. Kutztown a 6-man mass of players against F214, the other 6-man mass of players. Both teams doing an excellent job of staying together, but not necessarily what you want to do on dive here. A humongous EMP from Char there may mean a pick, and it will. The returning EMP will be happening in a couple seconds here if Retro can find some damage on us, maybe some big targets. PK Factor throwing that ultimate, not finding anything. Big Rick finding 1 with his Bonafide, just really using that coalescence to keep his team up in the back line there. Bit of a reset here from both teams. Kutztown gets EMP'd, 4-man EMP there. Retro making a quick team fight of that. I'm not sure that F214 needed that Death Blossom there. That's an important ultimate that they did use. I think maybe a bit of a mistaken decision making there, but Kutztown did the same earlier, only catching 1 when it wasn't necessarily needed. Bonewheel finding Retro in the backline and catching him with that little mouse trap there. Kutztown almost got booped off there by Sky, and then they do by Mazen. They said, you all just used your movement abilities to get away from my Lucio. You know what? You don't have them. I'm calling your bluff. And they didn't. Mazen, amazing use of that monkey ultimate, if you would. Pretty amazing. Wheel spamming from the side here, trying to find a little bit of damage so he can have that beat ready. Both teams spy checking, doing a pretty good job, making sure that they know where that Sombra is. Sombra versus Sombra battle here. Char looks like may have won for the moment. Retro forced to leave. Char bloodthirsty, going after Retro here. Will it matter? No, I'm not quite sure. The team fight is happening here apart from theirs. Kutztown will be up 2 players here as they push onto the point. Have not quite captured it yet, but they are at 99. They're going to have to clean up quickly here if they want to get this percentage moving. Cannot stall this diva as she is keeping them from capturing. 5 ultimates for Kutztown here. Only 4 upcoming ultimates for F214, but honestly, it's anybody's fight here. F214 just has to win 1 team fight here to take the second map. Getting their stride here on the second map of Lijiang Tower. Kutztown showing on Kings Row they might be better at the more stagnant tank position comps. And F214 maybe showing they're a little bit better at these dives, a little more difficult comp to get good at. So they may be looking to improve themselves in that area. But Kutztown PK Factor again with the remake kills. There's been quite a few remake kills this evening. 250 health characters, beware for the pilot divas. One last push here. This will be a final team fight for both teams. Kutztown end up using a lot of their ults, but now F214 with more. They're going to be pushing in here and cleaning up a couple of these characters pretty quick. Kutztown's going to have to make some changes to some fast characters if they want to survive here. Big Rick sticking with the Reaper. I'm not sure this is a good decision. And teleport into the point here. A beat from Bonewheel will keep them alive on point for just a second longer. Sponty not switching onto the Wrecking Ball, choosing to keep the Winston. The spin to win meta on certain maps may have died because of the recent Wrecking Ball grapple changes. Kutztown will fall to F214 here. Great job by them taking that last team fight on the second map of Lijiang.
Only through conflict.
Getting set up here. Teams deciding what they want to do. Maybe they want to switch it up a little bit. Love to see F214 keep this Doomfist here. It's a really good point for Doomfist as he can boot players off the edges. And the point is also pretty boxed in. So expect to get punched into walls here if you're Kutztown. Might be deciding not to teleport here, although if they're going to keep the Reaper, it would really make sense for Big Rick to swap here to that Symmetra and get his team there just a little bit faster. There are a lot of boop characters right now, 2 on each team. Expect players to avoid staying on the outsides, the outside rim of the map. That's incredibly dangerous for them. If they stay there, I'm expecting 1 if not 2 characters from the enemy team to pay a little bit of attention to them and try to boop them off. With that knowledge though, you know, could be used as a bait. We'll have to see. Teleporting onto the point here, F214. Kutztown trying to spread out a little bit here. Poke damage on both sides. Nothing doing though. One kill on the side of F214 here may mean an early fight win here. Kutztown's kind of unable to get in. Kutztown finding something onto the Doomfist there. Litlow getting an early pick here. Mamie and Kutztown could push in here. They're very split up here. This could be dangerous for them, but it looks like it might be working out. F214 getting pushed back. Oh, and a charge from Mazen will not land, but it was very close. Still getting a lot of percent on point. F214 did get a ton of percentage on the point there. I'm going to be taking a quick break in just a second here. Quick little bathroom break, but I will be back in just a minute.
Hey. Activated. See you later. Feeling much better. Been here all along.
Time to raise my APM. Get through this.
Just what I need. Meteor strike.
Yonder. Group up. Get that feeling, deja vu. More better than small. Let me touch that up. I got you covered. I'm ready to rally. I'll take care of you. Rally to me! I'm gonna shoot you down!
Come on, try me. Hey.
Activating self-destruct seat.
Great set a couple of matches there from both teams. Looking forward to talking with some of the members of Kutztown. And we are joined here by PK Factor
What's up, fellas?
on Overwatch. PK, that was a great scrim I just watched. That was um, probably a very educational couple of VoDs that you guys just received. Uh,
That's one way to put it. Yeah, there were a couple. Yeah, there were definitely a couple sequences that were not good from us, but I think overall we played pretty well. So there were a couple. There were a couple things that we wanted to work on specifically that I think we kind of worked on. Particularly, it might not look it because it was kind of shaky pushing into that Gibraltar offense second phase.
Right.
We were trying to control that spaceship, but it went a lot better than the last time.
Yeah, I think I mean both teams had pretty much rolled first point on Gibraltar, and second point is maybe one of the more complex points on any map in Overwatch. Second point Gibraltar, because there's layers of high ground, right? It's not just you have the King's Row, you're on the ground with the cart. There's a layer above you. Oh, okay, maybe now we're on a map with a high ground, and then there's a layer above that high ground. So not only is it a payload map, so you have to have someone down there, but you have to have there's this hierarchy of high grounds in the favor of your team, and so it gets exponentially more complex with that second high ground on the spaceship. We saw around Gibraltar-ish that both teams were adapting at the same speed, and we noticed that Team F214, which was their team name, started to adapt a little bit quicker than you guys did. Then on King's Row, we saw that flip. And was there a moment in comms, in-game leading or something where you guys had kind of cracked the code of this team?
I wouldn't say that. We just kind of stayed in our lane, kept playing consistently. I think maybe just kind of worked out more in our favor on King's Row. I don't know if there was any sort of huge adjustment. I will say we got a pretty fortunate third point defense where we were able to get a kill and then have Sponty like baited in the corner. So like that's kind of obviously a pretty unorthodox thing. We had ults to cover him, so
Right.
that kind of felt like a turning point because like they had good picks on us on they had a good pick on us on first that blew our whole first, and then second was like kind of back and forth. They were able to clutch up pretty heavy the other team, so they were pretty good, the other team.
Yeah, we King's Row specifically. Let's talk about that while we're here. We saw the gadget pick Bastion. From Big Rick. Do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, so I'd say out of all the three roles, I give DPS the most like leeway to make their own decisions with what characters they pick. So yeah, I trust him. If he feels like going a fast character to get back into the fight sooner is the best way to go, that's fine. If he thinks going a Bastion that can do a lot of damage uncontested, I'm cool with that too. I trust Rick.
It's a risky one because it's a slow, very, very slow character to get there, but it ended up working out for you guys, right?
Yeah,
you had
I
the
think
Hanzo ultimate and the Bastion.
I think part of that is because it's kind of like this Rhine versus Rhine with the Baptiste. There's like a lot of healing, there's a lot of HP, so you can potentially and both teams are kind of staggering, so the kills are slow. So I think that kind of worked in favor of like a slower, more all-in pick.
Right. I'd like to switch over to Hanamura. We saw a lot of dive versus poke tanks and poke DPS. On offense specifically, yeah, I'd like to talk about your dive offense at least. That first attack against a poke comp. What's going through your head as the leader of the team? What kind of advice are you giving your players against that composition?
I'm basically, so you probably saw that like Spotty and I were kind of staging left while we had our main group just in the choke there. The goal is to get to a point where we can get to them without committing a lot of cooldowns, which we were getting around the poke pretty easily, but our problem was our engages. I think a lot of us were just not on the same page. It was pretty sloppy, but the fact that we were able to stage correctly is nice though, because sometimes some teams can't even do that. They can't even stage. So we just gotta we'll just have to examine what we were doing wrong on that.
Right. That was
Oh, I think I think my butt yoinked a nano that was meant for Winston. That definitely didn't help.
right.
That nano Winston. If the fight I'm thinking of would have been pretty devastating. They were pretty grouped, but instead it was on me. So it was like, but those things
Right.
happen.
Yeah, we saw we also tonight I'm not sure if this was on Hanamura, but we did see a lot of Ana Brig kind of babysit support mode. But sometimes we saw like the Ana Lucio combo. So what kind of decisions, what kind of characters make you want to switch to that Brig or to that Lucio?
If there was ever an Ana Lucio, that would have been for a stall situation. That's because the reason you used to pick Lucio with Ana in the past is to kind of babysit. You can speed booster away, you can boot her, but Brig just does that job better. So there's no reason to run the Lucio over the Brig with the Ana. Um, uh, so in terms of Ana versus like you saw we ran the Moira too. Moira is like for those Koth maps where we just need to be all in on people and just need the pure survivability of our backline to be really flexible. And then I like the Ana more on kind of the asymmetrical maps where like you can rely on having a backline that's set up and where you need to either hard engage and you need the extra healing and the extra utility from the grenade, or you just need someone who can like keep you sustained long range, like on Gibraltar, a lot of long sight lines to help our monkey out from.
Right. So tank play tonight was a little crazy. We had only a couple of big standout moments for the DPS. But I'd say tonight was mostly a supports keeping up tanks who are fighting evening. We saw a lot of block shatters from their Reinhardt. We saw a lot of attempts at like sneaky shatters thwarted. So
Like on King's Row.
yeah, on King's Row twice actually.
Yeah,
Um,
I so okay, so don't blame Sponty. He's not some psychopath. I'm the psycho. I'm like telling him to do all this stupid stuff. So he knows better, but I'm a bad influence. But the one on second didn't really work out. But the one on if I remember correctly, maybe we clutched that, but I don't know if it was because of that. But on third, like even though they spotted us, like I said, we had other ults in the bank to kind of bail them out of there and to kind of punish their push onto him.
right. Yeah, he did get out, I believe, both times on King's Row with his life. After being that in that far of a position away from his team. So great job on there. Great seeing you guys scrim. It's cool to see the new strats that you guys are pulling out. And so thanks for coming on, Peter.
Hey, well, thanks for showing everybody this and talking over it. Appreciate it.
Of course. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. A great night of scrims between Kutztown and F214. Some more collegiate Overwatch action coming every week. So make sure you tune in for that. And for now, my name's Kanor, and you are watching Now Loading Esports.